You ever notice how easy it is to have strong opinions about everything, except your own life? Like, you can clearly see what your friends are doing wrong. You can point out what society is messing up. You can even say, if I were in charge, I'd fix this, and that. But then, you look at your own habits, your own reactions, your own patterns, and suddenly, things get a little blurry. That's the strange part no one really talks about. We're obsessed with controlling the outside world, people, outcomes, how we're perceived, but we're almost strangers to ourselves. And that's where everything quietly falls apart. Because the truth is, if you can't sit alone with your own mind without feeling restless, distracted, or uncomfortable, you're not in control of anything. You're just reacting. Most people don't realize how much of their life is automatic. You wake up, check your phone, scroll without thinking, react to messages, feel annoyed, feel validated, feel ignored, all without ever stopping to ask, why am I like this? It feels like you're making choices, but you're mostly just following patterns. Patterns you didn't consciously choose. Maybe you get irritated easily. Maybe you overthink every small thing someone says. Maybe you keep chasing approval without admitting it. And deep down, you tell yourself, I'll fix it later. I just need the right motivation, the right moment, the right conditions. But that moment never really comes. Because mastering yourself doesn't start with motivation. It starts with awareness, and that part is uncomfortable. It means noticing things about yourself that you've been avoiding. Like how you say you want peace, but you constantly engage in drama. Or how you say you want discipline, but you keep negotiating with your impulses. Or how you say you don't care what people think, but your mood changes based on how they respond to you. That gap between what you say and what you actually do, that's where your lack of control lies. And most people spend their entire lives trying to close the gap from the outside. They try to control people, control outcomes, control how they're seen. But they never realize that the real problem is internal inconsistency. Think about it like this. If your emotions can be triggered by anything, a comment, a delay, a rejection, then you're not stable. You're dependent. And when you're dependent like that, you'll always try to control the world to feel okay. You'll want people to act a certain way. You'll want things to go exactly as planned. You'll want constant reassurance, not because you're weak, but because you don't trust yourself to handle discomfort. That's the part most people avoid admitting. They don't actually want control over the world, they want relief from their own inner chaos. But here's where it gets real. That chaos doesn't go away by fixing the outside. You can change your environment, your friends, your job, your routine, and still feel the same inside. Because you took the same mind with you. Self-mastery starts when you stop trying to escape yourself. When you stop blaming circumstances for reactions that come from within you. It's when you catch yourself mid-reaction and think, wait, why did that bother me so much? That question alone can change everything. Because now you're not just living, you're observing. And observation creates space. Space between what happens and how you respond. Most people don't have that space. Something happens and they react instantly. Anger, insecurity, frustration, it just takes over. But when you start observing, even slightly, You interrupt that automatic cycle. You realize, I don't have to respond like this. And at first, it's small, almost invisible. Maybe you pause for a second before replying. Maybe you don't check your phone immediately. It feels insignificant. But that's actually the beginning of control. Not controlling the world, controlling yourself. And that kind of control is quiet. No one applauds it. No one even sees it. But it changes everything. Because once you can sit with discomfort without running away, you stop being controlled by it. And that's where real power starts. You don't need everything to go your way anymore. You don't need constant validation. You don't need to win every argument. You become stable, and stability is rare. When you master yourself, you don't eliminate emotions, you understand them. You know when your ego is trying to defend itself, and instead of reacting, you question it. You start to see your mind not as something you are, but something you experience. And that shift is huge. Because now, you're not trapped inside every thought. You don't believe everything your mind tells you. You don't chase every impulse. You choose. And that's what most people are missing, the ability to choose their response instead of being dragged by it. But here's the uncomfortable part. This kind of awareness comes with responsibility. Once you see your patterns, you can't unsee them. You realize that a lot of your behavior isn't caused by others, it's triggered by them. But it comes from you. It's easier to blame the world than to face yourself. It's easier to say, they made me feel this way. But if you want real control, if you actually want to stop feeling like life is happening to you, you have to take that responsibility. And the answer is usually simpler than you expect. It's not some big transformation. It's small, consistent moments of awareness, catching yourself before reacting, sitting with discomfort instead of escaping it. That's the real reason people chase discipline, by the way. Not for success, not for status, but for freedom. Freedom from their own impulses. Freedom from constantly sabotaging themselves. And the irony is, the more you build that inner control, the less you feel the need to control anything else. You stop forcing things. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to shape the world to match your expectations, because you've built something more reliable inside, something steady. And when you have that, the world becomes easier to deal with, not because it changed, but because you did. You handle rejection differently. You handle failure differently. You handle uncertainty without panicking. And people notice it. Not because you're louder or more dominant, but because you're calm in situations where most people aren't. It only comes from doing the internal work, from facing yourself honestly, from building control where it actually matters. This isn't something you achieve once and then you're done. You don't wake up one day fully in control of yourself forever. There will still be moments where you slip, where you react, where you fall back into old patterns. But the difference is, now you notice, and that awareness brings you back, faster each time, until eventually those patterns lose their grip. Not because you forced them out, but because you stopped feeding them. Can you control your next reaction? Can you sit with discomfort for a few minutes without escaping? Because the world doesn't need another person trying to control everything around them. But it does respond to someone who is grounded, aware, and steady. Someone who has mastered the one thing most people avoid themselves. And once you do that, you'll realize something almost ironic. You never really needed to control the world in the first place.